Urgently, Zelensky is heading to Trump again along with Macron and Termer. What awaits Ukraine this time? You have to see this. Solovyov lost his temper and criticized Putin.
Ooh, we have a mega regulator, you know? We are fighting inflation. We are not fighting for investments, not for development. The main problem is inflation. Well, how can you build anything or discuss anything with these people?
The Ukrainian armed forces struck Putin's command post, eliminating dozens of militants. These are the hot news, all the most important in one digest. Give this episode a like. We create this project thanks to your support. Urgently, President Zelensky is heading to the USA again, but this time with strong support from French President Macron and British Prime Minister Termer. This is reported by Mail. The visit to the White House is supposedly scheduled for next week. Trump wants to present a new peace plan. We hope this time the trip will be successful and free of scandals.
You were in Ukraine? What do you say? What problems do we have? I was watching stories.
By the way, Trump needs to be sent. Here is a video from NTV, which very eloquently shows what kind of peace Putin and the Russians want. The host Norkin, who was once for democracy, has long since sold out to the Kremlin, and now with his buddies they warm up the audience with fresh polls in the best traditions of Kremlin cannibals. Just look at the circus they've put on.
What do you think? When will peace between Russia and Ukraine come? That is, we have no doubt that sooner or later, well, it's obvious. And now for answers. When Zelensky is gone, when Western military aid stops, when the global community recognizes our new borders, when Ukraine is no more.
How about the option that none of this will happen and you'll be left with nothing? Don't like it? Too bad. Because it's the most likely. Meanwhile, Norkin continues to fight with some Nazis.
From our point of view, from our position, everything is clear. We continue the special military operation, advancing and constantly clearing territory from the Nazis.
Someone, it seems, needs to be banned from playing computer games. Otherwise, the person is starting to have hallucinations in their old age. Wow! Solovyov snapped and tore into Putin, who is ruining the Russian economy and destroying families while Trump is doing great.
Trump says, look, 5 million taxes. Come BVV. Invest. Do it. I am creating fantastic conditions for investment, for business. We will have the most here. What are we saying? We are saying, why are you coming here? We have a mega regulator. What are you thinking? We are fighting inflation. We are not fighting for investments, not for development, not for having the best shipbuilding industry in the world, as Trump has now announced for himself, not for the best manufacturers in the world to come to us and build the best factories in the world here. We say we need to kill inflation. In the world, the main problem is inflation. How can you arrange anything with these people? You can still deli.
And then, Solovyov completely lost it, and he decided to also address the migrants. Well, Rudolfovich doesn't like them. What can you do? He's not a Nazi.
And in our country, it's time to come to our senses a little. This flirting with the migration scum, I don't know who makes our dishes anymore.
Well, Rudolfovich, to be honest, you've already lost the country a long time ago. It's no wonder there are theories that your actual population is half of the nominal, simply because entire villages have died out. That's why Russia can't do without migrants, so endure it, Volodya. Putin is in despair. Ukrainian air forces struck a Russian command post in the Kursk region and a military facility in the Troitsk area. As a result, up to 30 of Putin's militants were eliminated. This location was used for planning and conducting attacks, specifically for launching drones at Ukrainian positions, reports the General Staff. Sensational. Ukraine wants to conclude a peace agreement to deceive the so-called Russia and then attack again. Mirzoyan is already preparing to defend Moscow. Moscow agrees only to peaceful feeding. The final signing? Moscow demands a halt with the elimination of all root causes. When it will be possible to violate something, drag the remnants of Ukraine into NATO, and so on? What? Try to convey the situation in 10 years. Some countries for 20 years. Horror. and they started reviewing. The situation is a horror. Happens, tell me, and not a day goes by without someone deceiving the good-natured Russia. They are so honest. How can anyone do this to them?
And a fig. Just blatantly deceived.
The occupier on Red Square speaks against joy because a Russian man should only mourn and die for the interests of Vladimir Putin.
Please come over. Do you have any questions? Esteemed representatives of the law. How should I speak? Why? Ask them to turn off the music. Why are they here? While Russian people are being killed in the special military operation zone, and they are having fun here. Why don't you ask them that? And you ask me to say what I have to and should say as a participant in the special military operation. Your police officers are there. They are dying there for the homeland. And you allow this here.
Now they might even arrest you, and instead of taking you to the station, they'll take you straight to the so-called special military operation. Well, just because you're already in uniform. Why waste time after all in Russia? Now there's only one path. Prison, front, a coffin. Russian occupiers are dissatisfied with the generals, complaining that people in the army are starving, while the generals order trucks with supplies to be discarded. Shoigu, Gerasimov, where's the canned meat?
Hello, everyone. Guys, look, here. What's happening in our army? We throw all this into the trash. People are starving. And this is what I see in the army. Then the army, and in the army, it's a mess. While the tree to the dump. It says they didn't come out because when the general arrives, it becomes tactical. What victims do you have?
Some complain that there is no food, others that there is too much, and others in general say they are being nullified there. What's happening with them there?
Volodymyr, we are reaching out to you with a request to watch this video and ensure that everyone standing has already found stormed. There are no random tasks here, no, for anyone here at the BVK. There are no such things, and yet they keep pushing and pushing. Task is set in its place. It goes not a task, but it doesn't matter. Nullification hasn't happened.
Well, what did you expect? Couldn't you just stay at home? Did you want to loot home appliances, shoot at civilians with impunity, and so on? Well, now you have it. It turns out that even your own command doesn't care about you. They will be sent more, and Russians should think carefully before agreeing to a contract. Russians are in for a big disappointment. Putin's cronies were rejoicing that the USA had suspended aid to Ukraine. They were shouting that now they would win in no time, but then suddenly in Popov's studio it turned out that at the front, right now this suspension of supplies doesn't really have much of an impact. How so?
How long can you maintain the intensity and effectiveness of your troops? Is it even possible to calculate that?
Well, you can calculate anything, but to do that, we need to understand how much they have already managed to pull together to Ukraine from previous supplies. As for the line of combat contact, well, for some time, it is unlikely to have an effect because there are military reserves, there are reserves directly near the front line, and they will use them.
Well, it turns out there won't be any victory. Gurulyov corks the champagne back. No, seriously, what did you think? You ended up in a fairy tale. You'll be even more surprised now the halt in supplies doesn't affect drones either.
Plus, today, a significant part of tasks is solved by making various drones. These drones are produced by Ukraine itself and take them effectively, and it would be important if the Americans stopped supplying them with space reconnaissance information and the Starlink system stopped working. But so far, I believe that hasn't been the case.
So it turns out that the strikes on the so-called Russia won't stop, regardless of what the White House wants. And what about the puppet state? And all that deflated. That's all for today. Thank you for watching the Hot News. Give us a like. It's very important for us. And support the armed forces of Ukraine. The war is still ongoing.